most aeros is the setup of the boat is quite wrong. Okay, I'm 74 kilos, and in a 7 rig, I'm not big enough. I need to be bigger if I set the 7 rigger to its most powerful setting. Now the way to adjust the power of the rig before you sail is to adjust the tension in the second batten down. So my second batten down, I have 5 millimeters of play. So I sail with creases in the batten pocket. What that enables me to do is when I use the vang, the leech opens, not closes. Okay? So if I were to sail this boat in light winds, this is always confusing. Okay, when I'm the president of the world, okay, everybody's outhaul will be grey, everybody's kicker will be red, and everybody's downhaul will be blue. And then life will be very interesting. So, in light winds, we don't need any cunning of tension. We also, I noticed this boat has got a lot of play between the traveller, and to encourage the blocks to go to the leeward side in light winds, try and ensure your traveller is pinching the top of your hand. It's quite hard. You have to adjust the knot to make it that tall, and then it tends to encourage to be in about the right place. So in light winds, if I use the van, now I can sail like that in light winds, and because the batten tension in the second batten down is loose, this one isn't loose, this one is hooking more. If it was looser, it would be quite open. I'll risk doing this. So I'm just going to do a little bit So that was quite closed. You see it's actually closed? That's not open. If I were able to ease that band tension in these conditions, it would be quite open. And I can show a short clip, it says, it hasn't switched itself off. At a recent event, it's on my blog, a little Rowford Rocket blog. But if you analyse it quite carefully, as you see me sail by, you see that my rig, I can see the corner of the sail before I see the leech. The leech is more open than the bottom. So you see, I have quite a bit of clue before I see the head. My head's quite open, but I've got quite a lot of kicker on. I've got a lot of vang on. Now, that means that I do struggle to hold the lane to windward. It's quite difficult to beat very, very high, and I'll show you how you get around that. But as we look at the other sailors, you'll see my wife. She comes in, and you see the whole sail virtually straight away. Maybe not too bad. The one behind, there's them all behind. But all these sails are very closed. They've got very tight top battens, very powerful. And with my wife's, I took the batten, I put it on the floor, and I rubbed a bit of batten away because her batten pocket was so short, I couldn't make it open. It wasn't soft enough. So there's a variance in the batten lengths, and there's a variance in the pocket lengths. And so if it's a little too long, file a bit of batten away. The Class Association are happy about that, so that you can have some play in the batten pocket, just some, not too much, because you don't want the batten pocket to come out of the capture. A little bit of play means that you can have a softer top batten. Now if you're big for the boat, if you're 80 kilos or 78 kilos and very strong, you don't need to do this. You can have a powerful top batten. But there are other reasons why you might want to do it, and I told Pete Barton how to do this at the Worlds this year, and he found a whole new way of sailing the aero downwind once he allowed the top to be softer, and we'll discuss that as we go through, okay? For my wife, well for me, when it's windy, let's go through the conditions first. So because I've got a softer head, in the medium conditions, the bigger dies pull the main sheet tight with no kicker, and they have a very hard leech, lots of power, and they point to the wind. and I'm too light for that. I can't do that with a tight top batten. I just can't hold it. With a soft top batten, I can just about hold it against the bigger sailors. And this is the way to get max power. If your traveller is too long, the boom is in the middle of the boat, and you just don't go anywhere. You just go sideways. You have to have that traveller very tight. Then when you use a bit of main sheet tension, you'll find the boom goes towards the edge. Be sensitive as you're pulling this in. You'll feel it's suddenly get tight, and that will be when your sail has gone from being open to sort of open to closed. Okay, and as the wind increases, you can feel when the tension gets hard. That's when the too many hands. As the rig bends sideways, your leech opens. Okay, your leech opens. The rig bends sideways. When it's light winds, it's hooked, and when you feel that tension, you need to ease it till it opens. Okay, but as the wind blows and the mast bends sideways, your leech opens. You can feel a bit of softness in the main sheet. You can pull the main sheet back in again to get that max power condition. It won't happen very long. It's about 3 or 4 knots for me, between underpowered to sort of overpowered. I'm overpowered in 6 or 7 knots, and then I'm changing to the I'm overpowered setting. So I'm always using kicker in the light winds. I'm trying to use main sheet in the medium conditions, in my I need power conditions. And as it gets windy, I go back to kicker again. But in strong conditions, I have to change the amount of downhaul I use. So I have a couple of knots. So in stronger winds, you really want to get the Cunningham on tight. Okay? And then you can afford to use lots of kicker. And so long as you have the outhaul deep enough, if you have the outhaul too tight, you'll see horizontal creases here. Okay? And what you want to do is you want to put all the power at the mast. Okay? You don't want any weather how, you want the power at the mast, so lots of downhaul. And a deep foot, because that's the part of the sail that you can cope with. This bit here, you're strong enough to manage that part of the sail. That part of the sail, you want it to just be gone, like a windsurfer. Okay? We're talking 25 knots, 25 knots, like the world's in Carno. Then if we do a little tip with the boat again, you should see the upper leech is going. It's not going yet, and that's because that top batten is still too tight. Doesn't stop me from pulling in harder.
Exactly.
Ja.
When you're sailing upwind in an aero, it's not like a laser where you just pull it in and hold on. Apart from in that medium condition, for me, 7, 8 knots, 9 knots, that's all I can do that with. The rest of the time, you're constantly trying to ease the sail out, because the more you can ease the sail out, the faster the boat goes. And then you're trying to steer the boat, keep it as close to the wind as you can cope with. Always playing the main stop, always playing the main stop. Keep the boat as flat as you can. The reason for keeping the boat flat becomes obvious when you look at what happens when the boat heels. Somebody hold the boat for me. You can hold the boat here.
Ja. Halt mal fest.
Das ist sicherer.
As you go along, put it down. As soon as the boat heels, you're pulling the rudder all the time, because the shape of the boat is trying to take the boat towards the rudder. The more you pull the rudder, the more the more you're lifting the back of the boat out of the water. You can see. Okay, the more you lift the back of the boat out of the water, the more you have to lean out. So as you go along to the water, this is trying to pull the boat down in the water. It's moving the weather surface area forward, because it's lifting the boat out of the water. That means you get the weather out, so you have to pull the rudder harder. more weather we have, the more this is trying to generate hiking force. We have to hike harder. So the more you can sail the boat flat, and you go back down again, put the rudder up, the more you can sail with the rudder in the middle of the boat. What's also a strange anomaly is when the rudder's hard over like this, okay, the water is flowing across the boat. It's effectively changing the angle the water flows across the hull. So effectively it's hitting the centreboard from the windward side. So the water flow is hitting the centreboard here, pushing the boat towards. So you don't gain height by heeling. Heeling means you pull the rudder. Heeling means pulling the rudder means the boat is being twisted and the centreboard is getting water flow on the windward side, pushing it to leeward. You get height by sailing with the rudder as close to neutral as possible, and in some very small conditions, when you can push the rudder away from it, you can get height because then the water flow is coming across, hitting the centreboard from the leeward side, giving you lift. It doesn't work massively well in an aero, but the flatter you sail, the higher you point. Right. Any questions so far? Any questions so far? I think I'd like to show a video of your dancing. Okay. Where's my computer? Yes.
Right here.
So the tension of the
Second pattern.
the second one
Yes.
stays the same and micro and let's go in that direction.
If I was absolutely certain the wind never got above 6 or 7 knots, and it was very flat water, I might have a slightly tighter pattern. But if it's you sailing, well, I might have to change my whole plan. Now, the guy called Sam Whaley, who was world champion in the Sefer, he's 82 kilos, he's super fit, triathlete, laser Olympic sailor, he's much bigger and taller and stronger than me. He can have the pattern tighter, and he has to do a lot of things to compensate for that, but that gives him lots more power. Whereas I'm shorter.
The rule of thumb, lighter is better.
Lighter to be slightly open the batten, and I'll explain what happens to the downwind sailing when we have a looser batten, because that can make a different tactical way of sailing downwind, which I'm hoping to do in a second. She goes down a little bit. Here we go. Okay. Our very great volunteer is showing us the video we had at the World Championships. And at the moment, I'm going to draw something to explain what's going on inside the boat. And I'm going to draw a happy sail. Okay, this is the wind. That's the wind, and that's a happy sail. Okay, and that's a happy sail, and that could be a boat on a reach. It could be a boat on a close reach. It could be a boat on the run, or it could be a boat sailing by the lee. And so long as that's a happy sail, that boat will sail steadily and happily all the way down the reach. But I'll show you an unhappy sail. Okay. Not a good boat in the picture. That's an unhappy sail. Now, amazingly, whoever designed sailing boats are very clever, because sailing boats actually know where they want to go. They can sail without you very, very well. Okay? Because all unhappy sails, okay, there's the unhappy sail, all unhappy sails want to become happy, and the boat will, on its own, sail to a happy position. What happens to the boat that's got the sail out too far here, she'll start to get a death roll, and the boat will start to try and bear away like this. when finally the death roll bear away stops, finally the boat finds it's got a happy sail. If you try and fight the boat going to a happy place, if it wants to bear away and you say no, I don't want to bear away, and you keep pushing the rudder, you'll fall into England, or you'll nose dive. Okay? And at the moment, I think you've got your mainsail out a long way, and you're pushing the rudder, so you've nose dived and fallen into England. Exactly what you've done. And you told the boat you wanted to bear away really quickly. Okay, you set up the bear away by having the sail out too far, but there's two rules. Okay, the first law is that you pull the rudder towards you, the wind goes towards the water, and the second law is you push the rudder away from you, the wind goes away from the water. And you instigated, you told the boat you wanted to bear away quickly, so you let the sail out too far, so it was rolling to windward. But instead of saying, I'm going to use the rule that when I pull the rudder towards you, the wind goes towards the water, you didn't. You stood the other way, and that lifts the back of the boat out of the water, and no failure is there. Whereas if you pull away, the rudder would be a sinking plane, and it sinks the transom, lifts the bow, and it turns the boat back to a happy place, and you get a happy sailing. So I've got a great little footage in a laser. I apologise. The actual footage is worth looking at, I think. I haven't got it there, so I'm sorry about this, guys. I didn't know where we'd get to use this. Okay, this is a little short video. You can download this video. It's a digital download. There's a proper briefing about it. It's pretty similar to this one. Okay, Lawrence. Let me stop. Let me just. Okay, we'll do it again. Should let me go back. We go backwards 2 times, and we do it slowly this time. I might have to sit down and show you the video properly. Fundamentally, we have Lawrence has put his mainsail out too far. He's too frightened about bearing away. He doesn't really know if he's going to bear away, but he's told the boat, he said to the boat, I'll let my sail out to an unstable place, I want to bear away quickly, and once he does that, he can use the rudder to bear away and he becomes completely safe. But he doesn't realise that, he doesn't realise his sail is out too far. Okay? We can discuss why, even though your broom is in the right place later, why the sail was out too far. We can discuss that later, and that's just through the pressure on the leach of the sail carries it further forward than where the broom is, so it's unusual for you to have this experience. Okay? So, yeah, I've got some control now. So he's let the sail out, but he doesn't want to go that way, he wants to go straight on. Lawrence, the boat rolls to windward, the boat's trying to do this unhappy to happy place. He's doing it on his own accord. If only Lawrence were to let it go there, he'd be okay. In fact, we can watch the horizon getting quite scary now, okay? But he hasn't made any changes yet, so the boat is taking him to a happy place. In fact, you can see the horizon starting to come back now, because he hasn't changed his rudder. In fact, a little bit longer, it's becoming safe. The boat is sailing him back to safe, but he doesn't realise. And he thinks, I don't want to go that way, I want to go that way. So he now applies the rudder, just when he thinks he's in control. And of course now, the rudder is a lifting plane, it's moving the wetter surface area forward, okay? And it's literally lifting the boat out of the water, okay? And look, so it's almost exactly the same scenario, except you're kind of going dead downwind, the sail is out too far, and this is later.
Here comes the nose dive.
Okay, You're living on the edge, and I don't, and I, yeah. I can't do that. I would be so, I have brown pants. I wouldn't go. Okay. I don't know, I respect you massively for just keeping going. But there's such an easier way to go downwind than that.
Yes.
It's like, you know how a flag flutters? This way, that way, this way, that way, this way, that way. Okay? You have set your boat up to experience every flutter of the flag. Whereas you just need to go to the place where the flag only goes from the leech to the left, or only goes from the left to the leech. And everything becomes calm. And then you instigate a change. And it's so easy. You're also nosediving and hitting waves, okay? And there are, and I'll use the side of this paper to explain waves and how you can go with them and avoid them and all that sort of thing, and you'll go downwind much quicker. Incredible, we're just going to watch the capsize on. Oh, it span out. It span out. Another nosedive? Maybe? It sails out a long way. Oh! It's brilliant. It's absolutely brilliant. Fastness. It sails out a long way. You need to get it moving first. You would have hard over. You put us hard over, isn't it? Just go on a reach. Put a sailing, go on a reach. Go wherever the boat wants to get some speed on first, and then you can let the sail out to bear away. I will show you a video of a jibe in a second in a laser that might help you understand why. If you're really struggling. We go, nosedive, bear away. Now, to help you bear away in that situation, let the kick off. Okay? Go on a reach, sail the boat first. Once you've got the boat going, put the kick on again, then you can just let the sail out, feel the windward, and go there. So that's the next video clip is of me, okay? And that was a brilliant video, thank you. So this is me in a laser radio when I'm much younger and less grey, and yeah. I'm so glad you can't see the logo on my jacket because I wasn't used to it. And I'm trying to instigate instability. I'm trying to sail on a reach with the sail out too far. Okay, so I'm doing exactly what you're doing, except I get the roll to windward, and then I'm pushing the boat to leeward and steering into it to try and get a pump out of the sail. It's just for training. I wouldn't do it honestly. Push it. Push it. Because that is the way you get accelerations and changes of direction. Okay? But obviously I get a bit of a gust of wind that is a bit bigger gust of wind and a bit of a shifted gust of wind. And what happens in all sails, and especially the aero, especially when you soften the top pattern, okay, is that you get the leech profile gets blown forwards, and the leech profile gets blown forwards, even though your boom is in, your leech is out. And so, effectively, it's an unhappy sail, and you have to bear away and pull the sail in to make the sail happy as soon as possible. Okay? And so what I do is, I bear away, and the boat becomes okay. And that video changed the lives of a lot of laser sailors. Because they didn't believe it. They didn't believe that bearing away when the boat rolls to windward will save you. And it is simple. It's the rudder, pull the rudder towards you, the boom goes towards the water. End on. Okay? Don't lean out, go, whoa, it's going to help me. You've got to expect a centrifugal force. It's going to get better. Then I think the next clip might be useful. Yeah, this might be useful. This is in Europe now. This is why the aero is so nice to boat, because it's light like a Europe, and I like it. I used to. And there are times, this is just going to prove the happy sail phenomenon. Okay? So this boat is going to come sailing towards you, and the sail will be in the same plane as I sail towards you, but I'm going to change direction. So the sail is still a happy sail. Now, I actually lied. It wasn't happy all the time. I actually made it unhappy for a short while. Okay? Because when you go, I'm going straight towards you with a happy sail. You might see a ripple in the leech as I ease out a little bit of sail so that the sail becomes unhappy.
only with the main sheet.
Only the main sheet. And then the boat now will bear away. Okay, so now I'm bearing away the boat to try and make the sail happy. At that point, I've got the sail to its happy place. You just have to let the sail out and commit. Okay, commit, bear away. Okay, then when I change it up, I'm going to push my body weight to a little. In Europe, it was push with your legs. Okay, just a little leg pop, and then you trip onto the centreboard, and the boat will turn instantly. And I've explained to you yesterday, or 2 days ago, that when you're by the lee and the rig is out here, you have to push towards it, and you'll find there's a big acceleration because you're taking the sail towards the wind, and it's a whew. And if you can push your weight first, slight half a cycle second push pull with the mainsail as well, you get an acceleration you can turn against, and the boat will turn very quickly. So long as it's not heading to wind, don't sit down on your bum. This is where you need good core stability as you push with your legs. Pushing with your legs and keeping your weight on the outside of the turn. Sit down and it stops to push, boat turns up, and as you're turning up, you've got centrifugal force turning up and some resistance in the weight of the rig. If you don't do the same thing quickly, you'll fall into wind. Okay? So by the lee, you're pushing against the sail, push, pull, push against the turn, keep your weight in the sail and be careful as you turn, you'll hit the side there. You've got to work hard with your core, step backwards, sailing really quickly and off you go. That's the up transition. And you'll see that when you do the when you bear away, watch how high my bow goes. Because it's heel to windward, because I have rolled the bow on top of me, my rudder is a lifting plane, which moves the wetter surface area backwards, which makes the turn really easy. Okay? So sail goes out, bow comes up, it comes out of the water. Okay? Whereas if you instigate with a rudder, the boom goes towards the water, the rudder lifts the back of the boat and sinks the bow, which makes everything wrong. Okay? So in the same way you commit in your jibe, but at the moment I think you're committing in a slightly strange way, you kind of commit to go from reaching to by the lee. I'll try and explain why reaching and by the lee might be a good thing. So we have wind, and it's normal that you have kind of mixed waves. Sometimes you have perfectly mixed waves, where you might have the storm waves from yesterday in one angle, and you might have the wind-blown waves from today in a different angle. And depending on what sort of, if you're in an lake, you're probably not going to have these mixed waves. If you're on the sea, you're probably going to get waves bending around the bay, tidal waves, passing boat waves, but there are times when it's almost two wave sets, and you get bigger waves where they collide, and you get flatter waves where they antiphase. Bigger waves, big waves, big waves, big waves, big waves, big waves, big waves, all the way down here. I don't know if you've ever seen Ben Ainsley in a fin, and one bit of footage where he passed so fast down the road. He was just going down the flat spots. Everybody else was going down the head wave. He just went to the flat spots. Had the speed and went down the flat spots. Whereas, normally speaking, most of us are human, and we are trying to do something. And normally, when I used to sail at lays, they used to say, if there's a jibe where the bow keeps hitting the waves, take me the jibe, because you'll be reaching at that point. And what you're trying to do, what I try and do, is I try and go down a gully until I see a flat spot. I bear away with the accelerating speed and the lifting bow, and I take the flat spot, and if I can keep it going, I go through the flat spot, then there may be a wave in the way, so I'll turn up and I'll wait for the next flat spot, and I'll do a turn to the flat spot. So I'm always going with a wave. So most of the time, by the lee, I've got a wave on my side, I'm going with it. If I turn up, I hit a wave, hit a wave, hit a wave, can't turn up yet. Keep going, keep going. Elongate that wave, you go so much quicker when you're not hitting waves. Then when I see a flat spot, I do the push, shoot, keep my weight to me, pump, and I go to the flat spot, and I pass a couple of sets of weights. Then I might ease the sail, lead it off on the top of the wave and keep surfing. And you don't get it from the top of the water. By the way, it's so easy to sail. You just have to practice being in the fourth dimension. So, I probably could do it with my arm better if you understand what I'm doing with my arm trying to do it with the boat. By the lead. Here's the rudder. Okay, I'm on starboard, that's the boot. Okay. By the lead, if I get to by the lead, I don't want to sail out too far because it just blows me too much to windward. Okay? I don't want to get too far because it's dry. When it's reverse flowing, it's really fast and effective. If I get a gust of wind and the rig blows forwards, I'll experience that, oh my goodness, I've got to bear away now. So if I don't want to bear away a bit, I'll pull the sail in to compensate for the gust. I might bear away a little bit. And then I might have to on the sail back out again. Okay? If I want to head up, I might drop a little bit to get a little bit of roll to start it, a bit like a car drive. I might left it. And then I might push against it, pull the sail in, use my cord to steer the boat down, and then sit down, and now I'm on the lead. Okay? And then I'm looking for how fast can I go at this angle? How soon can I go by the lee again to get back towards where I want to go? So I'm looking for a gap. There's a nice gap there, and I'll lead off the sail and speed off the top of the sail by the lee. Oh, it's so comfortable. When you let the sail out, you're pulling the sail in. When you pull the sail in, you're letting it out. So everything's in reverse. And so the biggest trick I would do is go and sail by the lee. Just on your own, and just experience. When my sail out's putting it in, oh yeah, it's really more. Pull the sail in, oh it's going out. Okay. And you'll just experience the whole feeling. Same with the tiller on the opposite side of the deck, because you need to push against the boat the long way around. And you need to be able to move quickly to move your leg underneath you, to get a turn, and then you need to sit back on the side of the boat. Just practice those sort of turns. In an air, in light winds, I find myself with my leg on top of the centerboard, and I make the boat as unstable as I can, because instability enables me to change the direction. And you get a flow from the leech to rough, you get a flow from rough to leech. Oh, I sit all the way down. I always, because I want to turn direction. I don't get to the windward mark and pull the centerboard up to bear away. I leave it down because I want to sail out and I want to turn against the sail. Yeah. Okay? It's like mobiles today. So I have it down, so I've got edges to sail around. Yeah. I sit with my leg on the full deck. Rolls to windward, and the boat wants to go by their away, so I go by their away, and I push the boat into the boat by the wall, and that's an acceleration. Then I might do something with it, head back up there to where I go. Not quite gently, but they're always trying to feel by the lead. So you're all balance between your mental and your body. And when the back is soft, you do get, you're able to reverse flow. The one thing I would say of 90% of the fleet, especially in the silver fleet and middle of the gold fleet like the back, they sail with too little kicker down the runs. A big full sail, well, you can't reverse flow on a big full sail. You can't get the wind to go from leech to left. So you have to have a flatter sail, and a softer batten enables you to get a softer reach in the first flow. And that sort of action, they're looking for get the reach to open, use your away, everybody ready to go up. That enables you to change direction, avoid those waves, pick up the ones as you go down. I can show you downwind in a laser, I apologise, but how you make your rudder steer while still passing, being a leader laser angled rudder. And I said, my rudder's the same as yours. It's just that you sail not with the rudder, but with the sail and your body weight. So this is changes your direction. You can practice these even in aero, and you can experience what the leash does as you push to leeward. I guess I shouldn't really shoot it to laser sailing, but this is the change of direction, which is obviously slightly different than an aero. But you'll see I ease the sail in a second, and then I'm bearing away, leading it off, leading the speed off, and then I'm going up again on the sail a little bit, pushed against it, and then I'm pushing on the side deck with the sail. It's a pretty windy day, I guess. Let the sail out again to go away. The rudder really isn't being steered. It's kind of just there. So I'll do a depth transition in a second, I think. This video I looked at a few days. There's the up turn. And the rudder, I'm actually stopping the rudder turning up. This boat. I think the DVDs are very useful. Like I say, a digital download on our website now that you can download to help them down to an aero. The only things I'm saying that's really different about the aero is suddenly upwind, I'm not at the front of the toe strap, I'm slightly back. I've played and said a bit, and I thought it worked for a bit, I'm not quite sure now. And I've obviously softened that band. That band to me is my mechanism for making the rig softer and more flexible, to give it more forward speed, and then I concentrate on the height by sending the boat very flat. I talked about jibing as well. What did you talk about jibing there?
What driving?
Okay. And it's fundamentally it's the extension of what we just did about bearing away, to be honest. Let's show you this bit first. There we go. This proves my first law, okay? In a second, I'll go back to it. This proves the first law. Pull the ribs towards you. The boom goes towards the water. Okay? So I'll go back a little time ago. Pull the ribs towards you, the boom goes towards the water. That's what happens. What tends to happen is the back of the boat comes out of the water, and the bow there is through a laser which is all the way over the cockpit for the water. Obviously the arrows aren't so bad because they're just like that. And jibes, when you slow the boat down by using the rudder to jibe, tend to just end in a very, very fast hanging off the side of the boat to manage the jibe. Whereas this is the same day, I'm obviously the smaller rig, but I'm sitting on the side deck now to let the sail out. The boat's still floating, it's not going to slow down. But I do that thing, commit to bear away by letting the sail out too far. So the boat starts the death roll to windward. So this is the beginning of the death roll. Effectively, the sail's out too far, the boat's rolling on top of the boat. And now, by bearing away with the rudder, I can bear away super fat, super hard with the rudder. And the cloud's lifted because the rudder's sinking. And normally when you're fighting the boat to go away, the boom kind of tosses when it wants to. Whereas if you set up the jibe, so it's fast, it's snappy, literally you're sailing the boat away from the boom as you're bearing away, so you're getting the wind, it feels the wind as you bear away, and your fingers, that's this wind. So you can sail the boat beyond the jibing point very easily, and then you can reverse the rudder towards the boom, and then it stops that wind. You actually push the rudder towards the boom, it stops the wind from the boom crosses. So boom crosses, and it's just easy. You're doing that sort of job. This skill here has been taught by the dad not to capsize, to keep the boat as flat as possible.
Steve, quick question on
as I reverse the right, you just flip it over. The nice thing about having the falls in your hand is, depending on where you end up sitting on the side deck, you can hold the falls or let them go, and you've got your control where you end up sitting after the drive. And the later you kind of lift it.
Working the kicker, prior to the drive, you kick it slightly, or you just let it tight and set it to run, and then just use the drive, or depending on the speed.
Downwind I don't use as much kicker as I use it, and that's what we find for driving. I think you see how your sail's quite full, and if you have the folds in your hand at that point, you know how that can sometimes roll into windward. Having the folds in your hand as you put it over, you can kind of decide if you need to move in or not, or stay out. It gives you a bit more control. It's nice to see the leech pumping like that. As you bear away, the leech pushes that way, and you can practice that through. Stab, stab. Right, to that bit there. Okay, you can pull away in order to go up. So once they go up, make the up an acceleration. Maybe you do that, you're breaking the boat, slowing it down because it wanted to go up. No, the boat wants to head up, took the feet, sailing a bit, go up, and then let the sail out and go right. Much quicker than, I don't want to go up there. Much quicker, go where it wants to go. So, I'm probably further forward than everyone, which looks quite windward. Oh, okay.
It's good.
Yeah. One more thing to say, okay? I've coached Olympic girls in Europe, and I've done all sorts of coaching. When you tell them to do a jibe on the run, they all capsize. Okay, because it's really hard to jibe a single-hander from run to run in big winds. Olympic sailors can't do that. Always head up to a reach, and then let the sail out, and then do your jibe. You get the turning speed, you can do everything properly, come out the jibe on a reach and then go away again. I learned that in Curie, or was it the Golden Finks Fishery Battle, years and years ago when I took a lot of time off and went sailing. I sold a house and went sailing. Tried to win the Europe World Championships. And I was watching the German laser team, they were doing these S-jibes. Okay, so literally, we're doing a run, we're doing a jibe people. On the reach, let the sail out, and jibe onto a reach, prepare away. So that's how I learned my S-jibe, just watching the German. I sense the boat is in your boat, you're trying to work against the reach, but you're not committing to it. Yeah? I just want to go a bit further. I want to go a bit further by the lead, and I want to have the sailing slightly harder. I want to start working against that position.
Okay, you are so far to the beach, because as a hold, in case says methods to say when we have to jibe. Right, it's going straight.
That was a nice upturn, just there. I don't know how we go backwards, just a little bit. You did an upturn. Right. No. Just press play there. There. So press play back up. You did a nice bear there. Oh, you thought it. That wasn't the thing. Going down the wave line, nicely here. I want you to be much more aggressive. I want you to be I want to be really quite aggressive and make it And I ended up bruising my legs while I the full length. Kicking the boat, and then you go from side to side. I could sit in your boat, but I don't think I should. So when I spoke to Pete Barton about the softer backing, he was saying in mind rig, he tried it, he found it a little slower to windward, but he found that downwind he suddenly had the rig that he could have more kicker on, so he could reverse flow easier, and he could make change in the direction better. So he would be aware that there's positives and negatives. He thought it slowed to See, you're driving from a run. That's scary. I don't do that. Only for a reach. I like if I'm on a run and I want to drive, I'll push, shift, slow, let the sail out, drive, forward, just drive from run to run. It's for nobody does it. If it's over 15 knots, just make it reach to reach and then go away. Cool. Okay. Any more questions?
Maybe some comments on the right positions about
Along with, I'd definitely say in right winds I'm here.
Okay.
I'm on the foredeck.
With the legs or just about?
It's a chunk, right?
Ze rollen je af, dus
So I'm here.
Okay.
In light winds. And probably in light winds. I don't know why, we are in lights and that's my light wind position. A bit of breeze. Okay. And then I tend to hike then usually I tend to hike a bit here, and then as I get to full hiking I'm here. I need some bow. Can you sit on the bow? Sit on it. And then I'm here and probably looking for the bow.
Is Ross famous in Germany?
I'm slightly on the toast right now.
In England,
Yeah.
world champion of this last year.
Did you say that?
Okay, actually, the Europe continue was crossed.
And we got by the lead. Bomber, he said in Malaysia.
Okay,
Where's my laptop? Okay, so Kevin, I start to feel comfortable when I'm here. I'm by the lead. When I'm in the knee and I'm doing that for 20 knots. I've got my knee here, and I'm shooting it down, reach, pushing the sail out, push the sail out. Main cheek's too short, get longer ones at roost. So yes, that's my lightning position. Push sitting out. And as it gets windier, I tend to sit further back to like sit away. So in the breeze, start breaking, I'm going a long way. Yeah. And most of the time in the breeze, you get by the lead, lift the boat lots more. I'm quite deep here, by the lead, I'm trying to keep the sail out, and by the lead, I change direction, I need to go shoot, and then the boat comes in the way, let's go down now, boat goes down, then goes in the way, this one comes towards me, and then to go by the new clock. Thank you guys. Is that okay? The other thing, the other big tip I did was this deck is a bit like Velcro. When you tap, you can't move out, and when you go on the side, then you can't move backwards. So just give it a couple of years of aging with a blade, and just take the worst of the grip off the boat, and then when you tap, you can move out. You won't make you slip. Just gives it a couple of years of aging. It's too aggressive. Okay. Everybody happy? Right. Enjoy. See you again soon. Right. Thanks very much, guys. Thanks for my presence. Thank you so much. I'm going to go catch a plane now. Okay?